Friends, isn't it fascinating how relationships bring us immense joy, but also profound heartache? They're a dance of emotions, yet how often do we truly, deeply, consciously invest in the relationship we have with ourselves and loved ones? That investment, that time, and that energy is the most powerful gift you could ever bestow upon yourself and those you love. As life didn't give us a manual on handling emotions and communication challenges, we also weren't taught the art of building romantic ties or how to deeply love and value ourselves. But I'm here to share more life-affirming, relationship-enhancing wisdom with you all. And now you can also find this transformational content pouring onto Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Dive into the show notes to connect with all the magic. Here's to growth, love, and endless learning.
Hi, this is Nicola Beer, and today I'm going to be talking about balancing responsibilities in relationships, how to handle feeling overburdened. Feeling like you're shouldering the majority of responsibilities in your marriage can be exhausting and disheartening. It's a common issue that can lead to resentment and strain in a relationship. However, recognizing this imbalance and taking proactive steps to address it can pave the way for a more harmonious and supportive partnership. I'm going to share with you some insights on how to handle the overwhelming burden, recognize the dynamics at play, and strategies to resolve this common issue. Carrying the weight of your relationship and family responsibilities can, as I mentioned, be overwhelming, leading to resentment, burnout, and emotional distance. It can also lead a person to carry heavy emotions with them, feeling lonely, frustrated, hurt, sad, disappointed, angry. And these emotions can also take their toll on energy levels, efficiency, and overall happiness. It's crucial to acknowledge this imbalance, therefore, and to address it constructively to maintain a healthy and supportive connection. I'm going to be sharing with you how to resolve these issues and give you a few ideas for ways to start the conversation. First, let's look at the signs of imbalance. The signs of imbalance you'll notice is constant fatigue in yourself. If you're feeling perpetually exhausted despite getting adequate rest, this can be a sign that there's just too many things to think about, too many responsibilities, too many things on your to-do list, on your shoulder. A lot of people carry that weight on their shoulders, their neck. They feel weighed down. Resentment, that can be a really good indicator. Okay, there's imbalance here. And if you're feeling resentful for your partner for not doing enough, if you feel everything's on you, this obviously can show perhaps that there's an imbalance. And then there's the lack of appreciation, feeling underappreciated, not having your efforts noticed. This can really increase the feelings of imbalance, deepening the emotional strain. And it's not just the physical day-to-day chores like loading the washing machine, cooking, washing up. It's also the mental load. A lot of women and men will say to me, well, I'm carrying a lot of the mental load. I have to think about, okay, what are the children going to need for this activity, what food do they need to do, what do they need to be learning, how to grow them into good, rounded human beings. Sometimes people feel overwhelmed by the financial responsibilities, investing, saving. So there's different areas, of course. It's not just about the practical chores. Lena felt like she was managing the majority of household tasks and child rearing, while Adam focused primarily on his career and bringing in the money. Despite working part-time, Lena handled cooking, cleaning, and helping with the kids' homework. Over time, she became increasingly resentful and exhausted, which led to her distancing herself from Adam. Their sex life and emotional connection deteriorated as a result. Adam, on the other hand, was doing the best he could, but he felt lost. He often felt criticised when he tried to help, that he was doing it wrong, wasn't doing it in the right way, which led him to just withdraw even further. He eventually found it easier to stay silent and just focus on work and ignore what Lena was saying. To Lena, it seemed the more she needed him, the more he withdrew. The more she asked for help, the more blank-faced and cold he seemed. This only fueled her frustration and sense of isolation. Lena began to wonder if she would be happier managing the children in the house on her own. She felt so lonely, so disappointed. This wasn't the marriage that she signed up for. Yet, at the same time, she was so overwhelmed that she lacked the strength to even think about ending the relationship. Every day was a struggle, and she often found herself longing for peace, even though she would never leave her children. Some days she just wanted to just stay in bed all day and just sleep. When Lena and Adam sought help, it became clear that the issue was much deeper than just the day-to-day tasks and organising responsibilities. Lena needed a reset. She was weighed down by mixed emotions that needed to be addressed. We worked together to help her change the critical self-talk, the negative stuck thought loops about the relationship that were contributing to her misery. We also explored the origins of her need for perfection and found ways for her to slow down and relax. Rest became a priority rather than a reward. We can often think, okay, once I get this done and that, then I'll relax. Yet self-care, rest, needs to be throughout the day, daily. It's not a reward, it's a necessity. Resting, relaxing. Otherwise you just can't function after a while. Their conversation around chores was emotionally charged, which is why they never made much progress before. By working on themselves individually, they were able to approach the topic with compassion. They then focused on rebuilding their connection through relaxed time together and establishing safe, open communication. Adam realised that yes, he also needed to work on himself, on his habit of procrastination, and his fear that if he got something wrong and got shouted at about it or told off about it, that he wouldn't control his anger. Often he would avoid Lena because he was worried that he might explode one day and say things that he regretted or shout in front of the children. So he was often pushing things down and avoiding to stop himself from, in his words, blowing his lid. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what you're arguing about. It's the emotion and care you bring to the conversation that makes a difference. Paying attention to the energy you bring to discussions and focusing on the outcome that you desire rather than what you're unhappy about. If you go into a conversation saying, this is what I need, or this is what would really benefit me and you, the family, it's going to be far more received than you don't do this, you don't do that, you never help, you're selfish, you're controlling, whatever it is, for obvious reasons. So thinking about, okay, what do I really want and how can I phrase that in a positive way? It's so important also to, of course, recognise and validate each other's feelings. So before you address the issue, there's 3 simple ways that you can connect before talking about difficult conversations. Spending quality time together. So having some time where you're connecting, where you can become closer. Could be just a simple activity like going for a nice walk, watching a movie, cooking a meal together. Just doing something enjoyable that can create a positive environment before discussing any challenges. Throughout the week, throughout the day, practicing gratitude, expressing what you appreciate about each other's efforts, acknowledging the small things can foster that sense of teamwork and mutual support. Often these conversations about responsibilities can make people feel, wow, you are not seeing what I'm doing. You are not seeing how hard I'm trying. You're not seeing me. And that can be really painful. So showing the person that you're seeing their efforts, you're grateful for what they are doing, is a great foundation to then have a conversation about where perhaps you need more help, more support. And of course, really listening to each other. This is the closest way to connect to someone, to show them I care about you. I'm really going to listen. I'm going to listen without interrupting you. I want to really hear your experience, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're going through at this time. It builds trust, opens the door for a more constructive conversation about challenges. So once you're reconnecting on a deeper level, fostering a supportive atmosphere, you can approach the discussion of responsibilities with compassion and understanding and wanting to help each other, showing each other, right, I really want to understand what is it that is really overwhelming you. It could be the maths homework. It could be the driving and picking up children from activities. It could be the financial stress and burden and responsibility for growing and managing the finances. So understanding, okay, where are you feeling triggered? This is going to lead to a more stronger, more balanced partnership. It's also important to note that perception plays a really significant role in how responsibilities are viewed within a relationship too. Interestingly, research reveals that in many couples, both partners often believe that they are doing more than their fair share. They believe I'm doing the most when asked, often because you know what you're doing. You know that whether you've got up and you've blitzed the kitchen and then you've done the bathroom and then you've got the children ready. You know everything you've done, and the other person doesn't see it or doesn't see it all. So that's why people feel, okay, I'm doing more. It's also how things impact you, right? One person may feel one task is easy, and for the other, it could be really draining. Personally, I find driving really taxing. I'm not sure if that's my ADHD brain that likes to go all over the place when I'm doing activities. And for driving, I'm not really interested in it. Yeah, I have to focus. My brain can't go all over the place. I have to focus. And for people who have ADHD, boring, mundane tasks suck the energy out of you. I find it exhausting. Whereas my partner, Michael, he enjoys it. He could drive for hours and hours and at the end of the day have energy to go out and is upbeat. Whereas I would be like, I need sofa time. I need quiet time and to chill out. So it's important to realise that your perception of each other's efforts can lead to misunderstandings and frustration and a cycle of resentment if not addressed. And so can not discussing which activities, which tasks, which responsibilities are a struggle for you or easy for you, and weighing that into consideration. If you're feeling disconnected, to help you break free from this cycle, you can get my Relationship Reconnect Toolkit. It's absolutely free. The link is along with the show notes. You can also find it on my website. If you find that you're stuck in an endless cycle of arguments, blame games, and silent treatment, this toolkit can be really, really helpful. It has 50 conversation starters that can melt away a week of silence very quickly, helping you to become closer through new topics to discuss. Sometimes couples get stuck in the same discussions over and over, which can lead to distance. It also has an emotional explainer checklist to help you turn heated arguments into more loving discussions without falling into the blame game. And it has calmness cue exercises, how to stay cool, with different exercises to help you remain calm when you're having any heated discussions. So these tools are designed to help you reconnect and communicate more effectively, turning conflict into an opportunity for deeper connection, which may seem strange, but it really, really can be. If you handle your communication well, it can bring you closer. So going back to discussing and addressing imbalance in your relationship, here are some tips. Sit down and divide the tasks based on preferences. Create a comprehensive list of all the household and family responsibilities. Divide these tasks based on each person's strengths, preferences, ensuring that the distribution feels fair and manageable for both partners, and of course your availability. Be open to reassessing them and adjusting the roles as needed. Flexibility is key to maintaining balance as well, especially as circumstances in life change all the time. So creating this list based on your strengths, preferences, availability, and then being flexible. So that's the first thing. 2 is deciding on a follow-up strategy. It's important to find a way to stay on top of responsibilities without falling into the trap of nagging or feeling nagged. No one wants to be a nag. No one wants to be told what to do. No one wants to be chased. So how do you make sure things get done without that? Here are some things that you can consider. Regular check-ins. Establishing a routine for regular check-ins to discuss the responsibilities, the feelings around it, how is it working out. This habit can prevent misunderstandings and stop resentment from building up over time, because resentment is toxic for a relationship. Also really important when you're having regular check-ins and when you're communicating around the topic to use I statements. Saying, for example, I feel really stressed this week. I've got so much on my plate. Could you help me with this? Could you step up and take over that? Could you do this? It's far more likely to get a positive response, an understanding and helpful response than you're lazy, you're selfish, you're not helping enough, why is it on me, you don't care, of course, that is not going to help a conversation. Or just getting angry and shouting rather than talking about what you need. Really avoiding personal attacks. I've heard some couples say you're useless and things like that, and that's obviously going to really cause damage to a person and to the relationship. Laura and James implemented this. It worked really well. They had a weekly meeting to say, right, what do we have coming up? How did you feel about what we're doing this week? What you did that week? And they decided, okay, we're going to move over the responsibility of who's going to put the children to bed and who's going to have time for a nice walk. And so that they had personal relaxation time and changed and swapped things around. And this just meant that they kept on adapting their week to the changing stresses that they both had with their jobs. A whiteboard for some people can work. People like a whiteboard to list the tasks and tick off the tasks. And sometimes people add their children to them. And this can be a good way. It's a visual reminder and it keeps both partners accountable. Although I do hear a lot in my sessions that they tried a whiteboard and it hasn't worked. So that's where I came up with an idea for a couple of couples that I worked with about having a group in a messaging app. So creating a group chat on WhatsApp or another messaging app to list the tasks and then say, I've done this task, and then it's in the WhatsApp and then you've got a list of the tasks. And so rather than nagging each other, you can just say, have you checked the WhatsApp? This needs to be done, rather than saying, you haven't done this, etc., etc. Messaging apps can avoid you having to talk about it. You can message each other and say, check the message. And it also can help communication be clear, ensures that nothing gets overlooked or things don't get forgotten. Because that's another thing about dividing tasks. Sometimes people forget, and for the person that's forgetful, they hate being nagged, and the person that remembers everything thinks, why are you forgetting what needs to be done? And so having a messaging group where things just are in the group, you can both just check the group and things can get done. Some couples I work with, they have daily meetings. They're like, right, this is the morning, this is our day ahead, can you do this, I'll do this, and they just keep it in the day. Some people feel really overwhelmed if you say, okay, can you do this on Wednesday, this on Friday, this on Sunday? For me personally, I'm really organised and I love to know what I've got to do every day, like 5 days in advance. My partner, he gets overwhelmed, can't take in that information. He also has ADHD. So for him, he prefers me to just say, please, can you do this today? And then we remind each other that way. So that works for us. Other people, they might have a debriefing night meeting and say, right, the night before, this is what's going to happen. Whatever works for you, really. Another thing that can really work is dedicated chore time. So you're choosing a specific time each week where you say, right, let's say Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12, let's blitz the house. Let's blitz the computer admin, financial admin, house admin. You do upstairs, I'll do downstairs, something like that. Or a Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m, whatever it is. Like deciding, right, okay, this is a time where we're both at the same time do the chores together. And if you do the actual activities together, sometimes it's possible to do that, then it's a sense of teamwork. You're working together. It feels like a partnership. Breaks that feeling of isolation, frustration, resentment, feeling like you're doing more and the other person's not. Of course, if it's getting too much, then you can also get some support. Sometimes having a third person, therapy, can provide that neutral space to discuss and resolve feelings of imbalance and resentment and disconnection, and they can help you dig deeper if there's deeper issues at play, and also offer communication and empathy tools. For a more intensive approach, couple retreats can be an excellent way to address issues head on. I'm really excited. I've recently opened my own retreat centre in Thailand, where I now live. Many couples find getting away, being in nature, and focusing on their relationship for an extended period is a really effective way to reconnect, learn new skills, and overcome past hurts, whether they're relationship-related hurts or stem from personal past relationship trauma, childhood trauma. So if you're interested in spending a week in Thailand, working with me individually and as a couple, then you can visit my website, nicolabeer.com, to find out more or send me an email. I just really wanted to help couples more intensively in a retreat format It's a very small retreat. And like I said, if this resonates with you, then do check out my website. So just to sum up, balancing responsibilities in relationship requires open communication, mutual respect, and a willingness to really understand how each other are feeling, what each other are struggling with, how to help support one another. Sometimes it's getting outside support, whether that's a maths tutor for one of your children, whether that's a cook, a meal plan, a cleaner. Sometimes we do need extra support to manage our day-to-day tasks. By recognizing the signs of imbalance, discussing your needs openly, and implementing these practical strategies, you can overcome that balance and not let the day-to-day activities and the day-to-day chores come between you. Your relationship's worth more than that. And if you don't address it, it's just going to keep on coming up. And just to reiterate that empathy and compassion really are key to resolving any relationship argument and conflict. If you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed this episode, then I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review. It really helps the show to stay visible. It really helps me, and I'd be so grateful. From my heart to yours, wishing you an amazing week ahead. Until next time, take amazing care of yourself and each other.
Dear listeners, today I celebrate you. You are among the few who actively nurture their love journey. It's an act of courage, an act of self-love, and if today's episode resonated with you, be a beacon for others, subscribe, rate and review. Let's spread this love and wisdom far and wide. Craving more? Discover the free resources at nicolabeer.com. You can also find the links to helpful gifts in the show notes. Do also join our Relationship and Wellness Facebook group. It's a haven where we uplift, support and journey together towards richer, deeper love stories. Remember, you have the power to craft the love story you deserve. Thank you for being with me today, and until next time, keep shining and loving with all your heart.